Hi, this is Craig. Welcome. In this video today, we are going to work on the recorded edits that we've made while recording the grand piano track on Kenny's song. Hey, Craig Colley here from Craig Colley Music. Glad you joined me today. We're going to continue working on our song, Kenny's song that we started on. The grand piano is our first real track. We've done some conceptual things prior, and we have also talked about the composition of it, how we're going to record it, did some scratch versions, did an instrumental version just to give an idea, and then we actually laid down the grand piano part with a drum track reference. But we've covered some of this in past videos. So if you're picking this up, we've already recorded the grand piano track, and now we're going to edit the changes that we made in that recording process. If you're here for the first time, please subscribe if you like what we're doing here, and please share it. Really appreciate that. That really helps us keep the channel going. And any comments that you may have, or suggestions, or feedback, or anything that you need help with, please let us know that as well. But let's get into it. So today, we're working in the studio here. We have a multi-camera setup here. I'm going to kind of flash around and show you. This is our side shot. This is the shot of our overhead. We have an overhead coming down onto the keyboard, this keyboard here, and the piano keyboard. You're seeing a little bit of the screen here. This is a back shot showing where I'm actually sitting and what the configuration looks like. And this video isn't really set up to talk about all the technical stuff, just giving you a quick overview of where we're at. This is the screen we're going to be working on during the song. This is the track, the sequence that we're using, and we are in Mark of the Unicorn doing this. And then this is an overview of monitoring video. This screen here is for the sequence where we actually do the recording, and over here is more video controls, and oftentimes this is the second screen I use for plugins and stuff that go with this sequence set here. Got an iPad over here that I actually don't need on. I'm going to turn that off. 4 lights above us here, and then there's an overhead light and the studio there behind me. So that's kind of give you a little bit of an idea where we're at today. Because we're going to be editing this part, I'm just going to jump right into the sequence and put myself down in the corner there so I can still talk to you, and put my glasses on so I can actually see. And I hope those glasses weren't bumping the microphone as I was talking there. I'm going to really regret that if that's the case. All right, so as you can see on the screen here, this is our sequence. Now, we talked a little bit about this in the last video, but I'll give you a quick overview again. This is the tracks window. And in the tracks window, let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Let me do this. There we go. In the tracks window, we have the play and record buttons. We have the start and stop for the actual sequence memory points, the in and out if we're punching in, doing recording. Also here it gives you an overview of all the tracks here. And this was a sequence of a reference track we did before. And this is our drum loop here that we use just to have a background track to play to. So far we have created the real piano tracks here. And this is in the tracks window. We're going to go to the sequence window and look at that. Once again, we have this view here, just a little bit larger. So over here we have this view here. Now, this is the 414, the AKG 414 microphone, which is a mono mic. And this is the Audio-Technica 37Rs, split stereo, mono, but they're recorded in individual channels. We have control over them. On the mixing board, I'm going to go to that. And over here, we're showing lots of tracks, but we really only want to show in the mixing board these grand piano tracks. So let me get there, highlight. Oop, I'm hitting the wrong thing there. There we go. This group here, go back to the mixing board, is just show us that. Now on this view here, you can see we have some auxiliaries. These are what we monitored through when we were recording. And then these here, they have the record buttons on, which I'm actually going to turn off now. Those are the channels that we actually used to record on. And that's what the playback is going to come back through as well. And we have the pan set up left and right for the Audio-Technica condenser mics. and the cardio condenser mics. And then this is up the middle here for the AKG, which is doing mainly the mids and the low end. We have a grand piano master track here. We also have a master bus, and I'll put those both on too because all these tracks come through here, as you can see. Also, through this system, I also have my VO working, which you can see me talking here. And we have something a little special. It's called a ducking system. So what that means is when I speak while the music's playing, it will automatically turn down the music as I'm talking a little bit, so I'm not yelling over it. You can see this meter is reacting when I'm talking. I'm going to stop it. You'll see it stop. And when that pushes that down to minus 6 dB, it will actually lower the music that we're hearing at the same time. And then it comes back, the music will come back automatically as I progress. This way I can talk over the track and I have to yell over it or stop the track continually, although we will be doing a lot of edits, so we'll be doing that anyway. But that is the overview. I also have a noise gate on my actual VO mic, so with the system like this, especially when we're doing video, there's a lot of ambient noise in the lines and it's almost impossible to get it out. So I use what's called a noise gate, and what that means is when I stop talking, it actually turns the signal off completely, which I'll do right now. And it goes completely silent and it opens up again. It's kind of like a door opening and closing for audio. So that's what's on our two signal paths there. Then coming back to the track, we go back to the sequence, and this is the window we're going to be working in. Now, if you remember from the prior videos, if you're seeing this video for the first time, you want to back up and watch the videos before this, because that's how we got to this point here. But if you're joining us and continuing with this recording process, this is the beginning here, and I'm going to put my headphones on now so I can hear it as well. So there we go. Now I can hear the music. I'm going to start at the top here, listen a little bit, and then we're going to explain how we're going to do this editing process. And I'm going to turn off that drum track. We don't need that anymore. And this other piano track is gone for reference as well. So I'm going to play it a little bit. So that is the track as it exists just on its own. This is just with the two condenser microphones. This is the AKG on its own, mono feed. Now, because they're all separate tracks, if I'm going to do an edit point like this, I don't want to have to do that 3 times and it's not going to be accurate. So this tutorial is just giving an overview how we're going to do some of these edit things that we're going to do in this sequence here. As far as getting into how this software works, this is Mark of the Unicorn Digital Performer 10, how this actually works. This is not the tutorial for that. There are other videos that I'll do on that process as well. But in this quick review how I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to take these 3 tracks here. I'm going to go under Project, I'm going to go to Track Groups, and I'm going to create a new track group. I'm just going to call it Group 1 and say OK. Now, when I go back to my sequence window, I get off that so they're not highlighted. When I move one track, they all move. So what we're going to do today is fix all these punches that we did. You can see here, this track here where it says 17, that was the original track. And then there were overlay tracks that happened, as here's track 18 that we laid on top of 17 because we fixed an area here that was a problem. So right now I'm going to go through all of the punches that we did, punching in and out, because we literally set record points, recorded this section, then got out, and then, like I said in the last video, now's the time we're going to actually go in and fix these, which we're going to do this first one right now. So now we're going to go to this section in the song, and we're going to do our edits. So I have this tool palette up here, and select this one here, and now I can select here and I can grab and I can roll these tracks back and forth. Now I can't go too far with this one just because that very much of it was recorded. But I can roll this one to about this point here, and then I can actually do a couple things. If I need more room, I can go back here and I pull this out some more and maneuver things that way. the secret of it really is that when you do the punch, it wants to stay where the punch was. And I'm going to undo and go back to that original spot, which was there. Let me get back there so make sure that I'm not going back too far. There we go. That's our original spot. So it gives me a little bit of play, but not very much. So a lot of times I just have to move it this way, pull this over till it joins, and then I have more margin to move that back and forth. Same thing here. I can pull this out, pull this back here, join this one up here, and then I have more room to work the edit back and forth. And that's ultimately what I want to do. So now we're going to listen to where the spot was, because somewhere in there the mistake was, and I'm fixing that, so I need to listen. You can hear quite a bit of jolts when it comes out of it. But if I remember right, it was somewhere around, I'm going to back this up where I'm actually on the original track, pulling these out of the way and find where that mistake was here. Right there, so let me back that up there. Okay, so now we're going to jump into where we need to do our first edit. These tools here, bounce over here, oops, wrong one there, sorry about that. This tool here, if I do this move here, I can make the screen bigger, which I'm doing now. And then I can use the hand tool and reposition here so I can keep my spot that I am working on a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. So we'll listen. If I remember right, my edit that I needed was somewhere around here that I needed to fix, right in this area here. And I'm going to back this up here to this pickup point, and I believe that's where we're at. So first we're going to listen to this readjustment of the punch. All right, well, you hear those abrupt cuts. That's because there's no fade on it, which I'm going to do in a moment here, but I try and get it on the beat as much as I can. A lot of times I will even zoom in bigger so I can see that a little closer, and zoom back out, and then listen again. I'm going to go back past this a little more. This one's a little tough because this is real open. And this is where the band comes in, so I know at this point right here is where there's a big input of other sound. So I've got to make sure that's really tight and clean, and then fix the edit so we can't hear it. Just got to find the right spot. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to put this little crossbar here with these arrows. This is a fader, so it will fade both of those, mesh both of those tracks together so that you can't hear the punch. Still hear it a little bit, but I can still move it around, play around with it. I'm going to try it up here, see if it actually works. I think that'll work. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Put our fade in here and move this around. Oops, do that. See if we can find a spot to make that nice and clean. Not there. How about here? I know that's still just piano only, so I'm going to make sure this is in the best possible spot here with what I have to work with. It's probably going to be one of the toughest edits that we're doing here. Right there. I can hear the timing's just slightly off, so I'm going to try another spot here, see what happens. Now I can tell the timing of all of it's a little off. I'm going to have to go back here. Even further. This is a tough one. Wow. I'm actually very surprised right now. Let's see if I can manipulate this over here. Wow. That is not good. This is I'm going to cut this for a moment. I'm going to find what the mistake was and see exactly where it was. So this is getting rid of that punch completely and listen to the original track. I am not hearing a mistake. Okay, let me go back and see what I thought was wrong there. I guess it's just that big buildup right there. So let's see if we can get that a little bit better. It just comes in abruptly because it is just too... timing's not exactly right. Okay, so what I did there, I spread the fade out a little bit wider, and that masked that little area. I think that'll work. And that I can live with. Now, if that becomes a problem later on, and I just don't like it, I still can manipulate this and change it. Excuse me, a little bit later on in the recording process. So I'm going to go ahead now and go forward to the next one. Okay, we know it's around there somewhere, so let's move our track here a little more up here. Same thing in this one. One of the challenges we have is that the piano sounds so different just being recorded a few moments later, which is typical of an acoustic instrument. But I did not honestly think this would be this much of a problem. Sonically, it's completely different there. I got to see if I can find a better spot. Let's move it over here. It's almost like the tracks have shifted. All right, there we go. Just have to find the right spot to go. Now, once again, there's a lot of other music going on with this right now, so this is not as critical, but I still want to get it right. So wherever the mistake was is in here somewhere. So when I'm over in this area here, I can just go back a little bit, find a spot for the edit and the fade, and we'll try there and see what we have. Okay, not a good spot. Let's try over here. It's really punching there. Let's try up a little more. I've done literally thousands and thousands of edits, and this has been a very unusual one already. Put a little bit more. That's pretty good. Let's listen to that. That's a little off. I'm going to try and roll it over here, see if we can get a little deeper into it. Just spread that fade, maybe it will work there. Nope, I'm hearing a double note when it did that. I'll undo that, move it back here, see if we can find the spot there. Nope, how about here? I'm going to have to go back to this spot, I think. Wow. Well, folks, getting a real education on this one, so am I. Let's see if I can zoom in here and fix this one up. Get right on that downbeat. I can see now that the timing on this is a little different. You can see it, here's where the wave started on this one, but it's starting early, and that's the problem. I'm going to see if I can spread this out a little bit here, if we can maybe fake it into that. Yeah, that might work. I've been trying to do it on the beat, but obviously that's not working. There we go. Just want to double check that whole section. Once again, I know that there's other instruments playing, so we're going to move on. Plus, I'm saving a lot. And so let's see if we can find this spot. We'll just move over here and start our fades. Edit some fades. There, that was an easy one. See if I can get right in the top of this one here. See how that one works. That worked fine. I noticed here that I had a staccato part, meaning it stops more abruptly than a later part in the song, and I'm going to put a marker in indicating that so it helps me remember it. Right there, that bump, ba, ba, right there. Throw a marker in there, and put, I'll put fast. Hit, so I remember that's what that means. There we go. And move on to our next one. Over here, see what we got. I'm going to throw the fades right in on it. And move this up a little bit here to give myself that plenty room there. And listen, see what we got. Has a lot of sonic difference again. Let me see if I can roll it back a little more. There we go. Find our out spot. Pull back here, and this here. stretch that fade, see if that works. Actually, that's kind of a little cool effect there. Almost sounds like it's intentional. And a lot of times I'll leave stuff like that because there's definitely something that's a few microseconds off on the timing of these punches for whatever reason that happened with this track. And what it might be is that I talked about before, this thing up here is called the buffer. And the lower the number on this, like 128, it would require more computer power, but it's more accurate. And I know now that in the future I would have to use 128 because we've got a little lag in the system, and that's why these are not lining up. So that was an error on my part. I thought 256 would be fast enough, but it clearly isn't. That's why these are slightly out of time when on the punches. But we're still working around it. We're okay. Once again, if this was a solo piece and no other instruments, I would be probably re-recording it because I know that it would be just too obvious. So here's the next one. Drop the fade in. There we go. And it's just sliding over here. See what we got. I think all of this was fine. I just need this section. I played it longer before because I wanted to have a little extra in case there was a problem with this, but we're going to take a chance on getting right into this part where it breaks down, the high part. All right, that's going to be tough because that's wide open. That's just piano. So let's see what's right here. If I can go in there. Oh boy, the sound completely changes. So this is going to be very challenging here. All right, so I can hear a little click. Let's see if we can just massage it into the right spot. Maybe we'll get lucky here. That might work. Yeah. Listen again to that. I know that right here the band is going to stop, but it's going to be ringing out with the music, the hold through this area here. So I know it's not just open like you're hearing it now. Plus there's no effects on this piano right now. There's going to be other things that we're going to do to it sonically that are going to change a few things. So that's going to work. And I think that was our last edit to the end. Save everything here. And that is how we do the editing process on these punches. The other thing I'll show you is the beginning of the song. I will bring these tracks up to where it just before it starts, so there's absolutely no sound before that there. And I'm going to move the actual record in marker. I'm going to select the conductor track to do this, where the markers actually reside. I'm going to move this marker, my cursor up so I can see that spot and give it a little bit of play. Then I'm going to take this marker and move it in so that that yellow line lines up with that, and I know that that's my starting point, because in this software I open up the markers window and I hit record in, that's the spot it's going to start from. I have this count here. I've got the first verse record in, so this is where they actually would start if there was an 8-count pickup. And these are the things that I put in prior. And if you remember, I had a drum track that started there, so I'll turn that on. I hit count here, hit play, and the drum track is starting. And that's the record thing, record in there. Now if I wanted to start from that point just to begin the song, there we go. Now these drums are going to be replaced, as I said. Another thing I want to show you, it's kind of a really cool feature of this is this has what's called Quickscribe. And this original digital piano part, turn these off here. So I think this is on. That's a digital piano. It's actually played by this keyboard here. So that's where that's coming from there. And what that allows me to do with this notation that comes in really like a piano scroll, and you can actually see a keyboard here, and you can see where the notes are. If I click on it, you actually can see the notes themselves. You can also take these notes and you can move them if they're out of time, or if you want to move them to a different spot. So you have a lot of flexibility when you record with a digital instrument. But let's just do a little comparison of the sound, because the one reason we're using the grand piano, as you'll hear, is completely different sonically. And there's nothing wrong with it, it's just different. And sometimes it's a better sound for some songs, but so it's quite a difference in this particular song. Theoretically, you could play them at the same time. But they're going to be a little out of time only because of expression and so on. But what I wanted to show you with the digital piano, I can use Quickscribe, and I can select that track, which I will just select one track here, this one here, go to Quickscribe, and it will show me, I'm going to zoom back out, oops, wrong way. It shows me the actual sheet music. So starting at the beginning of the song, and this score is not set up the way I want it. This should be in a master or a grand staff, and it's not, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. This is showing, this normally would be a treble clef and a bass clef, but it's not that way right now. But you can see that there are, and also when you're in this software, you could take this note and you can move them around. You can change them, you can move the timing and so on. So that's a nice way of editing and fixing notes. Going back to where we were punching things in and out, sometimes it may have been one note that was just slightly off. Maybe it was just off a half step or something like that. And I could have taken it digitally and I could have pulled it down and I could have fixed it. But in this case, when you're recording a live instrument, you don't have this Midi capability. It's called Midi, which means Musical Instrument Digital Interface, to edit sound in little keyboard strokes, so to speak. Literally, I mean, the keyboard here works, you know, it's a keyboard. Just like this is a keyboard here, you push things and you get letters. This one you push and you get notes. So looking at that piece, I decided early on that I would use this as a reference, and I use this as my grand piano track that I will be using for it because it just sounds better. A little more to deal with, actually a lot more to deal with, but overall when the song is complete, it'll be a beautiful sounding piece because we're using a real grand piano. There's many tracks that I've done in the past where I have just used digital pianos for several reasons, and I've got lots of different sample libraries that I use to trigger multiple different sounds with keyboards. All this stuff is in lots of different videos and videos that are coming. There's just an endless amount of things that I can do when it comes to creating music with everything that's available these days. So that is the overview once again of Kenny's song, finishing the grand piano track. And this is the whole thing in its entirety now. We can see with the edits, and the edits are all fixed and they're fine. If there's a problem, like I said, I can still fix them in later on in the recording process if I need to. But I think we're going to be in good shape here. So the next thing coming is the oops, afraid I'm hitting that microphone. Next thing coming is the bass guitar we're going to lay on this track, which will be coming in the next video. So if you're here for the first time watching, welcome. And if you're here watching again, please, if you haven't done so thus far, and you can like the video if you like it, subscribe, or ring the bell, and that way you'll be notified of other videos that are coming up. But we're doing this entire song start to finish. So now we actually had the first track, which is the grand piano track, which is the theme of the whole song. We'll be adding bass, drums, and guitars as we go on in the future videos that are coming. So thanks for watching. Please share this with your friends. And any comments that you may have, any feedback, any suggestions, any help that you may need. I also do offer one-on-one consultation if you want to really get deep into some of these areas. I've been doing this a long time. This software I've been using since the 80s, believe it or not. I used to do live Midi shows with multiple Midi devices on stage. I actually had a technician running the computer setup for everything that I have with synchronized lighting and everything. This was in 87, going back that far with this software. So I've done this a long, long time, and thousands and thousands of sequences and songs and many, many notes. But this went through some challenges today. I got to be honest. I didn't expect that, but I know it was that buffer that I talked about that will be changed going forward. I won't make that error again, because I remember when I practiced, I did have it on 128, and I put it back to 256 as a reference, and I forgot to change it back. But it sounded like it was okay when I was recording, but we didn't drill in this deep, and I probably should have. But all in all, we're going to be fine. And once again, thanks for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Craig Colley from Craig Colley Music, signing off.